Let's take a look at crypto. Escalating geopolitical tensions weighing on crypto assets this week, with Bitcoin falling as low as $90,000 on President Trump's initial tariff plans for Mexico, Canada, and China. We are seeing a bit of a recovery here today. You're looking at gains of just about 4%, just below that $100,000 level. Later on today, Trump's AI and crypto czar David Sachs, he's expected to address, quote, securing America as a leader in the digital asset ecosystem. Let's talk about what this ultimately means for the crypto trade. For that, we want to bring in Eswar Prasad. He is a Cornell University's professor and author of The Future of Money. And Eswar, it's great to have you back here on Yahoo Finance. So we're seeing a bit of a bounce back here, recovery in crypto today here. Before we get to what to expect from Sachs, let's just talk about the price action that we've seen over the last 24 hours. What do you make of some of that risk-off sentiment?
So, there was this notion that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies might be a hedge against inflation, against market uncertainty. But it's turning out to be the case that Bitcoin is behaving just like any other risky asset. In fact, given that there isn't any clear intrinsic value which would allow for a valuation model to pin down the price of Bitcoin, it's acting like an even riskier asset than any other. So it goes up and down with the market, except that it goes up and down a lot more than other risky assets, especially because there is a lot of uncertainty in terms of policy, but also because market fundamentals are very uncertain at this stage.
How do you expect Bitcoin cryptocurrency to navigate a period where there is that uncertainty around risk assets because of trade tit for tat that we're seeing start to emerge and play out, when these currencies and these assets were in a far different landscape the previous time this was the case?
The landscape seemed to be shifting very much in favor of crypto. Once he was elected, and even before he was elected, Trump changed his tune on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. He used to be a skeptic. He's now become a fierce advocate. And there was a sense that with many of the Trump appointees likely to be very crypto-friendly, this includes Scott Bessent, who's now the Treasury Secretary, Howard Lutnick at the Commerce Department, and the crypto czar, David Sachs, who's expected to be a forceful advocate for the industry. There was a sense that the crypto industry would get exactly what it wanted, which was legitimization from the government, including by the commander-in-chief himself, but not too onerous regulation. So this combination of legitimacy and light-touch regulation is, in a sense, a dream for the cryptocurrency industry. But then, as he usually does, Trump threw a spanner in the works by introducing his own meme coin, which raised questions about the legitimacy about this asset class. So I think even in terms of policy, there is going to be some volatility, but overall, it's going to be a much more crypto-friendly environment. That is the longer-term issue which has driven the price of Bitcoin. But in the short run, many of these fluctuations in economic policies, a lot of the whiplash that we are seeing in trade and other policies is going to affect the price of Bitcoin, especially because it affects the price of risk-free assets, essentially the U.S. Treasury security.
Eswar, what about the fact that he's flip-flopped so many times just on crypto itself? Does that make you skeptical?
I worry a great deal about people who are, heavily invested in crypto because, having crypto as a small part of your portfolio, if you're willing to roll the dice, is okay. But my concern is that the sort of legitimization we're getting from the government, various authorities, including all the way to the top, could increase the legitimacy for both retail investors and institutional investors. So this poses two types of risks. One, to retail investors who don't really understand the risk they're taking on, but also the fact that the traditional financial system could get more closely connected with the crypto system and all the risks that are entailed. So I think there are some significant risks ahead. None of these might come to pass in the next 3 to 4 years, but we might be setting up for something much bigger.
Eswar, just really quickly, got 15 seconds here. Is it a net positive or net negative if this sovereign wealth fund that we're hearing is going to be set up by the administration is holders of Bitcoin?
Certainly, the government putting Bitcoin in its reserve, the strategic reserve is going to help Bitcoin. So anything that increases the demand for Bitcoin, given the limited supply, is going to help the price of Bitcoin.
Eswar, thanks so much for taking the time here with us today. Appreciate it.